Hi and welcome back to FindersBeepers History Seekers. Before we go any further, I need to tell you, like last week or last episode, depending on when I put this out, the office seems to be full of people today banging as much as possible. I'm going to try and ignore them because last time I got quite frustrated and I don't want to do the same again. So we're looking back this time in the abandoned house review at the Asylum that I did in the northwest of Italy, and it was freaky. After 2.5 hours of trying to get in here, just as I was about to give up, I managed to get in. I've had 2 lots of police, I've had a fall and a dint. I've got a dint in my head and a very small cut. It's been a nightmare, and if you do want to watch all that, I actually filmed it all as well, but I didn't think you'd want to include it in this video, so it's a separate video. Anyway, we're going to go in this amazing mental asylum that had torture, that had a bit of everything, to be fair. Anything bad you've ever heard about asylums happened in here. Now, first of all, and you'll see this in the behind the scenes video, it took me 2.5 hours to get in this place. So not only were my batteries almost dead on everything, I was tired, but I'd almost given up. I was walking back to the car at this point. I was trying to find a way out and walk back to the car, and I finally found a way in. Now, I'm not going to show you that little bit because that's on the behind the scenes video and I don't want to give that away and show that bit of it. But it was almost impregnable. I didn't think I was going to get in, and if I did get in, I was scared I wasn't going to get back out again. So I was so pleased I managed to do it. I really, really was. But I was exhausted before I even got through the door. Now, I'd been warned about this place before I even went. I knew what to expect. It was massive. It was an absolutely huge place, but not all of it was accessible to me, or at least I thought. The place was huge. There was loads of it that was abandoned, but part of it was still used and is still used for the criminally insane, and also there was a section for the elderly and children over at the other side of the building that wasn't connected and wasn't within the walls. So it's still a live hospital, psychiatric hospital for sort of criminals, I suppose, like, is it Broadmoor in the UK? A similar sort of thing to that. So it was a bit worrying. However, I knew where I needed to go and I knew where I needed to stay. And if I kept away from the live bit where the lights were on, I was fine. So I thought. So I'd been round and explored, and I made my way down into the tunnels underneath. And that's the bit that took me to where the lights were, and I was petrified under there that I would just be grabbed and they'd take me and put me in a room, put me a straitjacket on and stick me in a corner. It was a bit worrying, I'm not going to lie. It really, really was. Can you imagine that feeling of like knowing you're somewhere, not only that you're not supposed to be, like when you're exploring, but somewhere that you're really not supposed to be? That scared me a little bit. It really did, especially with knowing who was upstairs. Look in here. Look at these. These are like cells, aren't they? I wonder if this was like the secure unit bit. This is gorgeous. Look at the shape of it. These are like domed rooms, look. A circular domed room. It's all very strange. I am so freaked out right now. I don't like how quiet it is. Listen. I don't know what I did with my eyes then. I went, listen. I can hear that high-pitched noise in my ear. It's that quiet. Oh, this is freaky. I can see how hefty this door was, with a massive bolt lock on it. And then, not only could you not escape through that door, you got your own door. Oh, this one's better. This one's better. It's strange, this though. This doesn't... I wonder if it wasn't a cell, because it's got tiles, a sink. But it could be easy for like dirty protests and stuff. Just that door. Maybe this was like an operating... Look. It's an operating room. These aren't cells. You'd have the thick centre. It could even be like a morgue. Now, once I got exploring, once I got looking round, I came across a lot of sort of cell-looking type places, but I came to a very odd part of the place, because every single part of the asylum had got very straight, parallel sort of box corridors that sort of like went off at right angles, apart from one small bit that was like a semicircle at the end. Now, I don't know what I've done with it, but I did have a piece of paper a minute ago that sort of had a picture. I know what, I could show you on here. 1 second. I could probably show you on the screen in front of you, but I just want to show you what I mean with me fingers. So, this is the asylum here. Oh, it would be turning around. That's the asylum. Now, if you look at the bottom of it, there's the semicircle right at the end of the building. And that's where I found the big rooms with like the drainage bit, or where there'd been a table or something in the middle. I think that was the morgue. I genuinely think it wasn't an operating theatre. I think it was the morgue. I think there was one at each end, because I think at the time they split them and they had men in one side and women in the other, and they had a morgue for each one. That's my guess, because looking at the plans of the place and outside, there's no additional building for a morgue, and these places always had a morgue. So I thought, if you were going to put them anywhere, where would you put them? And it makes perfect sense to put them as far away to each side as possible. And that makes sense. So I think that was a morgue, and a lot of you guys thought exactly the same. However, some thought it was an operating theatre. Some people have totally different ideas of what it could be. But in my head, that's what it is. And the sort of romantic side of things, I know a morgue's not particularly romantic, but I mean, like, I said I wasn't going to get angry. I'm not going to get angry. I'm not getting angry. Calm, Matthew, calm. Yeah, so I don't know, like, there are, like, if I paint a picture in my head and like tell myself a story, and I walk around, because I often walk around these places and try and imagine in my head what it would have looked like at the time, before you got all the dust on the floor and the bricks missing and things like that. What would it look like? And in my head, that was, I could see them operating, like cutting out, opening chests and peeling skin back off the faces. Because they do, have you ever seen an autopsy? It's horrendous. Like, they peel back your face and like get to everything. Oh, it's horrible. It just makes me want to like be blown up in a massive car crash, so there's no body left. It's just like bits of stuff. It's horrible. I don't like the thought of it. But anyway, it makes me think of things like that. So maybe it was, maybe it wasn't. We'll never know. We'll never know, because there's no plans I can find online of telling you what each bit was used for. It just doesn't say. You won't believe it in here. Like, getting rid of records. I've never seen anyone do it this way. Look at this. These are piles and piles of medical records, all that have been burnt. Absolutely loads of them. There are still like quite a lot in one piece, especially when you start lifting them up, you get a lot more whole ones. But look at the room. Look how many there is. So after a while, when I'd been wandering around, I came across the room full of burnt stuff. And there was 2 rooms full of burnt stuff. The first one was all the records, all the paperwork, some of it quite new, some of it looking online and doing sort of searches on translation. It could be staff clocking in pieces of paper. It could be where they'd been put in there and it was when, like, the date that they'd gone in or been released or whatever. There was quite a lot of stuff like that. I didn't want to delving through it all because I would have been filthy. But then there was the other room full of, like, ashes. This feels even older in here. What the hell is that? It's ash. It's all ash. I'm confused. What the hell? There's been no fire in here. Because if there had, they look like church windows to me. If there had, it'd be a state. I don't know though, because it looks like that's been on fire. But the heat to turn all that into white ash, look at that. That must have been absolutely scorching. It's not even left anything. It's just white ash. The whole room. But it didn't make sense. There was a couple of bits of the room that were darker that could potentially have been burnt, but a fire to make that much ash would have had to been a really strong, massive fire. And there was no burn marks on the ceiling. It made no sense. So people jumped to the conclusion, and they might be right, I don't know. Was it human remains? Had they been burnt and chucked in there? But why? If that was the case, why would they do it? I don't know. I honestly don't get it. That ash makes no sense. And I would still like people to comment and tell me what they think it was. But I don't know. I've got no clue. It just doesn't make sense. 1 minute. Look what we found. This is where the torch goes when I need it the most. Oh my Lord. Like literally. I'm going to try and show you as quick as I can before the battery goes. I'm guessing that, oh no, that's the way out. I wonder if we can get to the cellars from in here. Look at that. I'm sorry I'm going round fast, especially after I've been so slow going round a lot of the other places. But I just didn't even know this was here. Oh my Lord. People have been looking for ways down, look. That's what that is. Oh, I'm burning stuff. Look up there. Look up there. Ave gratia plenia dominus tecum. I just wanted you to see this one because I think it's the best. It's amazing. Now, after a while of walking around long corridors with paint flake and sort of like a proper abandoned building, like one that you see if you were looking like a horror film, to go from that to find the church with the beautiful artwork and the ceiling and that dome bit, it was just so wonderful. It was such a contrast to the rest of the building, and lots of you absolutely loved it. Now, I thought it was going to be the most commented part of the building, but no, there was something else that happened in the video, and I'll come to that in a minute. But I thought 100% people were going to be like, oh, I can't believe the rest of the building, and then this. And it wasn't. And it was so wonderful, such a wonderful church. You can imagine, like I said, I can't imagine I'm in there, but it makes me sort of feel bad that I'm imagining it, how it could be like. I don't know, maybe I'm just a bad person, but just makes me think some pretty awful stuff. But yeah, the church itself was wonderful, and echo in there, like the reverb and the sound in there was just so lovely. Like you could imagine them, like with the sermon on a Sunday morning or whenever it would be, just, I don't know, projecting across. It would be so good. It sounds so good, so loud and so booming. It was in a brilliant place. It really was. Now, how this is still on 1%, I don't really know. But also, what is this? This looks like a church. A Nazi church by the looks of things, but a church all the same. Right, talking about getting out of here, we need to get out of here. Just after I said that, and I've been putting that toaster over there, a man shouted and came round that corner. So I'm going to go across here, see if I can get down the other way, because he'll know which way I'm going. But I think we need a fast exit. I don't know where I'm going though. Where are we here? But if there's lights in the cellar, does that not mean we're near the bit where people are? Oh, this is ridiculous. This is purely ridiculous. Just walked down here once. Oh my God. I'm not kidding when, like, I'm not putting this on. I'm not making it seem like I'm really scared. I don't like this. Look. Look. Oh, you can't see. Look. We've just walked past here once. This is like bloody Scooby-Doo. And that brings us finally to the two things that people talked about the most. First of all, the absolute panic of me thinking that I couldn't get out of the place. Spending time going down corridor after corridor, down into the cellars, thinking that my torches were going to go, getting lost, and the tension was building and building and building. I just felt awful, and it was getting to me, and you could see it because I was tired. I'd been out exploring for, like, with the bit before and afterwards, I was about 8 hours. I was aching, but I was panicking because a man had shouted. It was just building and building, the tension and the tension. It was unbelievable, and people were like, it was hard to watch. It was uncomfortable to watch because we were scared you weren't going to get out, even though we knew you'd got out, otherwise the video wouldn't have gone online. And a lot of people felt the same. And I love that sort of video. I love the adrenaline of it. It tires you out afterwards. You get that adrenaline buzz, and then once you've come out of it, you just go, ugh, and you just die. And you'll see in the behind the scenes video, I did. My legs wouldn't work or anything. I was purely working on adrenaline while I was in there. It's absolutely madness. Let's have a quick look out this window. That's not very safe, is it? It's another one of those big porthole windows as well. And then the other thing, and this is the really weird thing, it was the voices. And they are there. There's a man's voice, 100%, twice. Once sort of mumbling, once maybe a little bit closer to words. Somebody says that it is, he's saying die in Italian. Somebody else said he's definitely speaking Italian. And that brings me to a very odd subject. If you die, do you speak the language you died with? You might not believe in ghosts, and if you don't, then you don't do any of these things, and that's fine. You believe that, you believe that. I don't know. I'm very open-minded. I think that there are ghosts, but I don't go ghost. I've never been one for going ghost hunting. It's not my thing. But what was it? If it wasn't a ghost, what was that noise? What was that mumbling? Somebody said, was it my stomach rumbling? I don't think it was. I would remember that. It'd have to be pretty goddamn loud as well for it to pick up. So, I don't know. Like, some people will... It's one of those where I'll send a photograph to a certain person I know, and they'll say, have you seen the faces in this photo? I'm like, what do you mean? Like, oh, look in the top corner there, there's definitely somebody watching there, and things like that. And I just think, are you just making it up in your head? Are you seeing what you want to see? Is it something that's not really there? Are we hearing something that's not really there? It's just something else. Or is it something real? We'll never know. We just will never know. Anyway, as these people come bouncing down the stairs again, I will see you later, and I really hope you enjoyed this video because I really enjoyed it. Please subscribe. Please check out all the other videos on the channel, and I'll see you soon. Bye-bye.